Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ammo Bus Videos YouTube channel. I'm Ammo Bus Videos, otherwise known as Ammo Central, depending on what day of the week and what video you're watching. And welcome to Hillswick Yorkshire Terriers Bus Depot on Yorkshire Counties 3.0 for a little bit of an oddball route on the diagrams that exist on the map. So they have all the different routes, and within all the different routes there are different diagrams. When I have made OMSI maps and routes in the past, I always try and put the oddball diagrams in, odd short workings, potentially odd bus allocations, stuff like that. And as I was having a little trudge through, after I'd filmed the previous video you've seen, I noticed an oddball one with the 15 service. Now the 15 service usually goes, I believe, from it does Ashbury, and it starts off at Eversham that we did last time, at Evesham that we went to last time. However, there is an oddball morning working, possibly a couple of morning workings, that start from the depot. So as you can see with this board, it starts from the depot at 7:32. We then go departure call-up point at 7:33, that I believe is on the exit, and then we start at Hillswick Corner. Now, Hillswick Corner, as you can see, is about a 5-6 minute drive from here. It's not on the usual 15 route, but it is where we start this specific 15, and then we run into the centre of Wavesworth and then join onto the normal 15 service that will take us up to Ashbury. Now, the 15 service is usually timetable to take about 6 to 3 minutes. This diagram that we're doing is timetable to take just under 40 minutes. It probably takes about half an hour. So I thought we'll give it a go. So we'll get the bus all set up.
System pressure, okay.
And we'll have to put not in service on the blind, as we aren't in service as of yet. We are driving MX-70 AOK. That was one, I believe this is now with Go North West as part of the B network. But this was one of the 70 plate and Streetdecks new to Bolton with Diamond Bus North West for their services. This was one of the vehicles branded up for the 163 route between Bury and Manchester. The 163 was the first service that Diamond Bus gave up. It went over to Go North West early on, still with them now, but it went over to them early on prior to franchising taking place. It was the first service to sort of transfer as part of the franchising model, and is now incorporated in bus franchising generally. So I thought we'd drive with this livery, with this branding, because I always thought the branding was really nice. When they did Diamond Bus branding, they did it for the 8, 36, 37, the 163, and I believe they did some for the 471, I'm sure they did. I thought it looked really, really nice. It was basic, but I thought it did the part, and I was always impressed with the Diamond Bus and Terry's on these as well. So I thought, with all the B network hype this week, I thought we'd revisit a livery that may be forgotten about if we don't keep doing videos of it, and we'll have a little drive with this. So we'll get the bus moving, and we'll just log into the machine. And now we'll make our way to the exit. So we must be one of the last vehicles out today, because it is very quiet. So we must be one of the last vehicles to exit, although it is 7:30 in the morning, so most vehicles will already be out at this time.
The next stop is Hillswick Corner.
Oh, we've already got the announcements set up. Oh dear, okay. Forgot about the announcements. It's been that long since I've driven a bus that features the announcements and I've set it up properly, that I totally forgot that we had announcements. So that's pretty cool. It's also my first time I've run in or out of that depot. I've never actually been into that depot before. So that's pretty cool. We are now on the 83A service. So the 83A does go past the depot. It is a short working because it was supposed to go further, but it's cut short because of a police incident. And then if you've got a bus like this with all the working announcements and radio call, it gives you a radio call just before the terminus to give you a warning. So we'll probably get all the radio calls through on this as well. As it has been a while since I've driven a bus with all the radio calls, they actually will be rather refreshing. The problem is if you drive buses with the announcements and radio calls on constantly, they do get a little bit boring, so they should hopefully be quite nice. We are driving on a cloudy weekday as well. I was about to say, that better be a taxi, otherwise this is one heck of a rough straight deck. So it was always quite strange when the 163s went over to Diamond around the same time that pretty much just after Go Ahead had taken over Queen's Road. I mean, it all roughly happened at the same period of time. Because before then, Rochdale Road was just one operator. It was just First Bus. First Bus used to run the 17s, the 18s and the 163. They had the monopoly on the corridor. However, Go North West took over the 17s and the 18s. Diamond Bus took over the 163s. And now Go North West run the... There we go. Go North West run the 163. And Stagecoach run the 17 and 18. So the Rochdale Road corridor over the past 5 years has had quite a turbulent history of different operators. I don't think with how the franchising is now, so obviously to keep the competition, fair trade and competition commission happy, because of how the franchises are split, I don't think there'll ever be a point now where the 163, the 17 and the 18 are operated by the same company. So it is quite a random bit of historic knowledge, is that a rather strange thing. You know what I've just thought? I have taken a double decker on this, and I can't for the life remember where the low bridges are. I do know that the 83A is, or should be, I believe, from memory, a single deck route. Now I know that the low bridge for that is the other side of the route, so we are okay because this is the Park and Ride corridor, and the Park and Ride corridor does have double deckers on it. So just to think, Manchester to Haywood, the special 163 tickets were £12.12. So that was basically, if you specifically waited for the 163. Now the 163, when Diamond ran it, was every 10 minutes. I believe when it went over to Go North West, it was every 15 minutes. So I believe that the next bus stop is where we're starting. Here we go, Hillswick Corner. So let's get the bus all blinded up. How are we doing for time? We're actually a few seconds early, so that's good. There we go, 15 to Ashbury Market, and let's get a screenshot of the bus here, because this is, I believe, quite a random route start. So this is the oddball section of the route. So let's get a cheeky screenshot there, and now we will, well, make our way into the centre of Waysworth and then onto the 15 route. All routes from depot straight ahead. Very strange that we are on a corridor where there's no 15 signage.
Stop is Hillswick Lane.
Even though we have now started the route. Very, very strange. So as I say, just little cool oddball stuff like this is what I like. And I was having a little look, we're going to do the full route, and I thought, oh, this is something a bit random. So I thought, oh, we'll give it a go. Give something a bit random a go. Although, as you can see, we're not picking anybody up, so I don't remember the bus being able to go this quick.
Waysworth trackside.
8 and 9 from depot turn right, all other routes on depot straight ahead. So presumably then all of the 8s and 9s and other routes as well must start in a similar way to what we do. So everything must start over Hillswick Corner. Very strange. I'll have to try that out on a couple of other services. Oh, we might have a passenger. Oh, we do. Excellent. Well, I'll have to turn left regardless because there's the tramway there.
The next stop is Wavesworth Shops.
So yeah, this oddball morning peak time service tends to do quite well by the looks of it. Quite a lot of people waiting for us at the bus stops. Well, that is quite a nice surprise. Now I'll have to believe we turn right now.
The next stop is Wavesworth Interchange.
There we go. All depot routes follow markers, so presumably I've got to follow the 14 marker. Because, unless I am a 14, am I a 14? Have I just assumed I'm a 15? And I am definitely a 15. Huh. How strange. Unless it's one of these routes that run as different numbers, different directions, but I'm sure they were split. Oh, didn't mean to pop the horn. I did always think that the branding was quite good. I mean, they were also relatively okay with Diamond allocating the vehicles. When they got them all branded up, and they did do a relatively alright job of keeping them to routes that I thought was quite impressive. When you're in quite a big depot like Bolton was, it's quite understandable when misallocations happen with vehicles and stuff like that, but I always thought it was always quite impressive how well they did. With how they did with allocating vehicles. Thought it was very impressive. Have I gone the wrong way? Was I supposed to go the other way? Because that's Wavesworth College. Was I supposed to go the other way? Even though I didn't see any signage for the 15. Yeah, I was supposed to go the other way. There was no signage there for the 15 service. Come on, taxi, let me in. I'm gonna have to just do a U-turn somewhere. Yeah, that did not see any signage for the 15s. If there was some, I do apologise, but I definitely didn't see any 15 signage. So yes, we'll go the other way and see if we can find some signage for the 15 somewhere. Surely got to be some. Surely this entire route can't function without some signage. Come on, van man. There we go. Just as the lights change. Well done. So yes, we'll do a U-E and we'll go the other way, because there is a big roundabout that way. That's why I thought it was I was turning right. But I didn't want to know. Is this on 15? There's 15. 15 appears there. Okay. 15 appears there. But 15 isn't on there. So I don't know. I've changed all the air traffic. Van man's gone. Excellent. There we go, let's try that again. Now we've actually got signage at the bottom of the road to follow, so let's go and follow that. I've actually got, there's people that may want the bus, so we'll let them on. So this does give me a sign that we are on the 15 service, so they're more than welcome to jump on. Otherwise I'll be waiting ages for the next bus, so I don't see why not. I'm now a couple of minutes late though, so that's not good. So we do have a little bit of work to do to catch up our timings. Ah, that explains it. The 15 to the depot turns left, and the 15 generally comes down here. However, they've missed off the 15 there, so that was where the confusion has elaborated from. Because I just assumed that I would just be following 14 signage, because there was no signage for the 15 whatsoever, and the 15 doesn't normally go into the bus station. So that's why. So if you are doing this route yourself, you know what not to do now. So that's good. So basically, don't do what I did, that's follow the 14 because there's no 15 signage, as they both do two very different things. But I must say, when it was Diamond Bus in Bolton, I did think the operation was incredibly uniformed. I was always very impressed with it. I mean, I remember going over when they first started, and the teething issues were incredibly apparent, and there was a lot of service allocations. The fleet looked incredibly mismatched, and it was, you could clearly tell it was Diamond's biggest ever takeover of anything. And you could tell that was the case. It was pretty obvious. But then you go back about 6 months, 12 months afterwards, and when all of these street decks had arrived.
Anybody interested in some overtime today? We have plenty available on most routes. Whatever tickets you fancy, whether it was your run or around her, that's completely up to you. If you're interested on doing overtime,
That is some loud radio.
The next stop is Parish Junction.
So there we go, we got some time to catch up. But yeah, as I always thought it was very uniform when all of the 70 plates and 21 plates and bits like that arrived. I thought it, as an operation, it looked really, really good. I'm always a fan of the blue livery and the branding that they had and the maquette style. I just thought it all looked really, really, really nice. I mean, in the sort of later months, in the twilight months and weeks, the operation didn't particularly have a good reputation, unfortunately. Quite a few service cancellations, buses not showing up. Diamond in Bolton tended to suffer a lot worse through the driver shortage than some other operators. They did tend to take the brunt quite strongly. Most of the operators in the north ended up taking the brunt quite strongly, unfortunately. And it was Diamond, one of the operators that suffered the most, and that was why they had the service cancellations. Well, I mean, I had the pleasure through one of my jobs of being in Bolton a few weeks before the Tranche 2 takeover happened, and before most buses were in yellow, it was still majority were blue, and I had the pleasure of watching the depot running one evening, and I remember just seeing every single vehicle in the fleet absolutely gunning it back to the Western Street depot. I mean, that was the fastest I've ever seen some at Diamond buses go. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch. I dare say the odd one did go through a traffic light on just pure red. I mean, we're not talking it went through at amber. We're talking that light had changed to red, and he pushed behind two of his colleagues and pushed through. when arguably probably should have waited, so an oncoming car didn't have to slam all on. However, apart from that, it was quite an interesting watch to sort of see it all happen. And I would imagine it'd be quite interesting now to see the difference in vehicles and deliveries and stuff like that. I mean, something that's quite cool with the Trench 2 takeover is Oldham, for example, Oldham and Queen's Road. I mean, Middleton is just relatively the same. They were already prepared. They prepared themselves with stagecoach vehicles. They now continue to use stagecoach vehicles, so not much has changed. However, with Queen's Road and Oldham, the different liveries that you've got, because some of the vehicles that were based at Queen's Road that were originally first bus, like the B508 Gemini 2, the odd one of them has popped up at Oldham. That's quite strange. And the E300s that were previously based at Oldham with first bus have gone over to Queen's Road, but they've still all got their existing liveries with B network branding on. So it is quite random to see where some of the vehicle transfers have taken place and stuff like that. And now the oddball places you can see some different liveries and what have. I mean, first bus in Rochdale are using oh yes, this one. But they've also got they've got quite a lot of vehicles painted into yellow. They did quite well with that. I must say they did quite well painting stuff into yellow. I'm not competing with radio. There we go. But yeah, it's quite random with first bus in Rochdale as well. I mean, they've got the Swansea and the Bays red liveried E200, MIDI E200 running around there. I'm quite excited. By the time this video's out, I will have hopefully been provided at least one of the ex-Cymru or ex-First South Wales E200 middies. I've wanted to go on a first bus E200 for quite a while. Believe it or not, I haven't managed one, so I'm quite excited for that. I will have hopefully been on one by then. The others are in Olympia, but there is one that has come in Swansea red, red branding that I think is really random. It entered service a few days prior to the B network with still the Swansea branding intact. As I say, most other stuff has now been repainted. I mean, there is the odd ex-First South Yorkshire street light 63041, one of the LK62 plates. That's still running around in Olympia, and you can see where they've peeled off first Rotherham on it. I believe it's Rotherham was that one. I'm sure it was Rotherham. It was either Rotherham or Doncaster, where that was peeled off it many years ago, so you can see that. They've got quite a few of the ex-First Leeds street lights, the ones that didn't go down to Worcester are what they've got. They're going to, and they're all in yellow. They painted all of them in advance. Some of them entered service on the last day of the B network, basically to allow the double-deckers to be withdrawn early for transfer. So like the night before the B network went live, the entire operation out of First in Oldham was single-deckers. It was all the single-deckers that were either staying and going to Rochdale, or all the single-deckers that were going to go over to Stagecoach. So it made sense that the last vehicles coming in were going to be Stagecoach vehicles, because basically then, by the time they get in, it's pretty much just Stagecoach had taken over. First aren't having to mess about and do anything. So I thought it was a pretty wise idea, was that, to be fair. Although I imagine it was quite in the middle of the night when quite a lot of the E300s ended up moving over from Oldham to Queen's Road as a result. It would be nice to see First in Rochdale get some MCV Auroras. I mean, Stagecoach have some B8 Auroras, so it proves that they can get them. So it would be quite cool to see Stagecoach in Oldham potentially get some Auroras, or first bus in Rochdale for the 467, 468 and get some. There are some opportunities there. For now, the Auroras that they've got are based out of Queen's Road Depot, predominantly at the time of filming this, operating on the Orbits, the 52s and the 53s, as well as the 41s, the cross-city service. Arguably, again, 41 does need double-deckers, but it seems that for now they're repeating the allocation that Go North West did. It was predominantly singles with the odd decker. However, again, the 41 is a busy service and could do, and especially in the main section of the route, could do with double-deckers.
The next stop is Broadway Pub.
It's also quite cool how the B network has expanded. I mean, in the previous videos and in the videos on the YouTube channel, I have and will be discussing, and depending on what day you watch this, we've watched videos have come out already, some of the oddball services like the 184, but I think it's also quite cool as well as sort of the 184 service. It's pretty awesome that B Network is now going down Oxford Road and down Rusholme and down the University corridor. I'm quite excited to see how the university student market reacts to the 41. Now, the 41 is run by Stagecoach, so the entire corridor is once again, I say once again, but no, for the first time, believe it or not, for the first time since the acquisition of GM Buses South, and since deregulation, for the first time since dereg, the university corridor in South Manchester is going to be operated by just one bus operator. That I think is once again a big milestone.
Oakhart Family Pub.
Ever since bus deregulation in 1986 and the formation of GM Buses South, the corridor. Oh, my bus was wobbling a bit then. The corridor down Oxford Road and down Wilmslow Road and past Rusholme, the student corridor to the Disburys, has always had competition on it since 1986. It's had all sorts of random bus operators, some lasting longer than others. I mean, the longest lasting one was Fingerlands, and because Fingerlands lasted as long as it did, the takeover of Fingerlands by First Bus meant that there was never a point in which Stagecoach were the lone operator on the corridor. Because yes, it was Fingerlands were the last one, then it was First Bus, then it was Go North West, and now for the first time ever, since 1986, the first time in the deregulated, or what's left of the deregulated market in Manchester, for the first time since deregulation, it is back to just a singular bus operator on that entire corridor. Albeit the liveries are different, the circumstances are different, and I would also imagine some of the ticketing options are different. It is now all Stagecoach on that corridor. So whether you board a B Network 41, a Magic Bus 142 or 143, a Green Electrics 43, or a standard Stagecoach 42, 42A, 42B service, they are all run by Stagecoach. Yes, the fares do vary and the validity will vary. They are all run by the same company. That is one heck of a milestone. But for how long is the follow-up question to that, with the tranche-free announcement delayed while confirmations are made? It might not stay that way for very long. So again, it's one of these very oddball things that has happened, but we can't expect that to stay the same for long. I mean, it's all once again going to change. We might see a totally different operator. I mean, for goodness sake, we might see First Bus operating the Magic, what is currently the Magic Bus corridor, or we could see Arriva, or we could see Transport UK, that's the new name for Bellio. We could see Metroline. I mean, there's all these different options of whom we could see on that corridor. I mean, you never know. We could see Vision Bus or Diamond on the corridor. It's such an unpredictable situation at the moment. I mean, South Manchester's always been Stagecoach, as most people have known. The majority of it has been Stagecoach. It's not like the North that has fluctuated and competitors have got in or stayed in for longer than they did with the Stagecoach areas. the South has always been Stagecoach. So it will be very, very strange, very weird if Stagecoach don't win it. I mean, it would also be rather unfair if Stagecoach did. Now, that's the strange situation that we're in, because Stagecoach have won the main franchising for the North and North-East areas. However, they can't necessarily then win the South or like the East if the South and the East is put together. So it's got to be hopefully transfer-free. I mean, as much as I don't agree with depot by depot system, that's what they're doing. I cannot emphasise enough how little I disagree with that. There is going to be a discussion video on the Oddball Central channel with me, hopefully some people who run bus operators in West Yorkshire and some of my West Yorkshire colleagues who also do research. We are going to be discussing and sitting down and talking about franchising. That is going to be a video. We will do it. That will be happening. So I'm not saying too many of my opinions here. However, as much as all of you will know, I don't agree with the depot by depot. They do have to split up the depots. There is no way that they can franchise the entire area from pretty much Altrincham all the way round to Ashton-under-Lyne to a big operator and a small operator. There is no way that that can go to just two companies with the just purely based on the landmass. I mean, Hyde Road is going to be the biggest operation to be taken over as part of it all. That will be the biggest. Well, Hyde Road, that's going to be absolutely enormous, will not. But they can't, that entire area cannot just go to two companies like they have been doing it. It cannot be just two operators. I mean, I don't agree with it all just being part of a single tranche. I think it should have been 3 and 4. However, I do think at least if you do 3, you've got to split it between about 4 bus operators. You cannot split it between less than 4 bus operators. That would be vastly unfair. And the amount of vehicles that you would have to source and the amount of logistics you'd have to do, that would just be absolutely enormous. And as I say, vastly, vastly unfair. So hopefully a little bit of sense is seen. I mean, we still don't agree with the fact that independent operators are being entirely ushered out by the franchising model that we're doing. I still don't agree with that at all. However, hopefully it goes to at least 4 bus operators, possibly even more, all being well. Any less than that and a landmass that area being split, any less is vastly unfair. Well, we've still got to remember operators that haven't won anything. I mean, we've got Vision Bus, for example. They haven't won anything. Tends to just be the big commercial ops that have won every nationwide ones that have won everything. Aviva haven't won anything as of yet. Aviva haven't. Vision Bus haven't. Been stopped tall, small operators like that. Nexus Move, they haven't. So there are operators of those sizes that just haven't won anything. And again, it's why we'll go to the unfair. I mean, I am going to pause our discussion there because otherwise we're going to go into debate club. And that's for an entirely another video on the Oddball Central channel. Do subscribe so you can wait for that to come up. Because there'll be quite a lot of topics within that to digest. I mean, we're talking the basic operation, we're talking the staffing, we're talking the reliability, we're talking the vehicles, we're talking the timetables, we're talking the marketing, the commercial prospect, the tenders prospect. There's quite a lot packed into that you have to put into consideration with it. It's not just, is franchising good or bad, yes or no. There is a lot of aspects to it. It's how it's done, how the vehicles are done, how the routes are sorted, the types of vehicles that you're using, the frequency of your routes, where your routes are going, how you're marketing your routes, how you're providing your timetabling, how you're providing the marketing for your shelters, for your interchanges, and how it's all being put together and being made attractive. So there's quite a lot to it. I mean, I do say that as I am looking directly in between driving. Every time I look down right next to the computer at the moment is a leaflet that will be featuring in a video. It says, say yellow to the B network, and I picked up a few of these in Oldham just before Tranche 2 happened. So it's one to properly look through. I mean, I've just had a little flick through then as I've just described it. And it's just said other tickets from other companies. For example, Diamond will not be valid on B network buses. So again, that's what will make corridors like the university corridor for the 41 quite an interesting ball game, because of people going to wait 15 to 20 minutes for the 41 and use a B network only ticket for travel to North Manchester, or alternatively, are they going to just wait a couple of minutes and buy a stagecoach only ticket, and then if they go to North Manchester, buy another ticket at that point? I mean, that's going to be the interesting way to do it, because routes like the 41 in areas like that are going to be more infrequent. So it is going to be really, really strange. Really, really strange. So there were also complaints just before the takeover in Oldham that the prices were going up, because basically the B network day tickets are actually, I'll have a look at this properly, but the B network tickets are for the entirety of Manchester. So these operators, like First Greater Manchester operating in Oldham, have lowered their prices based on the fact that they only operate round Oldham. So if you are somebody who lives local to Oldham and does a commute in from, let's say, Diggle into Oldham, or Ashton into Oldham, it made sense to buy the first ticket, because you're only catching first buses, and it was cheaper than the full System 1 that is now the B network ticket. However, they've got rid of those tickets now. They've not introduced any zonal tickets, so you now have to pay £5 a day or £21 for the week. That is valid throughout the entirety of the B network, but if you're just doing a simple 20-minute commute every day between the housing estate and town, it is quite a price hike that you're having to make, and you can't particularly see the benefit yourself, because you're not going to travel all over the place. You're not going to say, oh, I will jump on the bus and I'm going to go to Bolton or Wigan, because if you don't have any business over in Bolton or Wigan, you're probably not going to bother.
The next stop is University Way.
Because Greater Manchester has its amazing local rail network as well, so you'll probably just jump on a train and you just catch the train over. So you wouldn't necessarily want to check on a few buses. You'd just want to get a train there, and the B network tickets for the bus. So it's a strange one. I mean, I'd have personally introduced an Oldham zone, a Rochdale zone, a Bury zone, a Bolton zone, and a Wigan zone, and I'd have done that. And possibly even a Middleton zone, and possibly zones like specific Rochdale Road corridor tickets, Bury Road corridor tickets, and stuff like that. And I think if you'd have done it that way, yes, you've got a lot more tickets to manage and bits like that, but that would be a bus service more for the people, because you'd attract more people to use the buses, because for the people they'd be more affordable for what they're doing, so more people would want to use it. I mean, now it's just like buses are just a £5 a pop, and it's like, it's a bit expensive. I mean, West Yorkshire's having a similar thing. After all the spending by the Mayor of West Yorkshire on marketing for franchising and a few other bits, they're now starting to run out of money. So because they're starting to run out of money, the day ticket has gone up in price. So instead of using the money to subsidise services to keep them going, to make sure more people connected on the bus network, and subsidising the bus network, so the fares could stay low, the fares have gone up. So the day ticket now stands at £5. Now, what's been quite interesting, we've got another one.
If you've seen a black bag, please can you check your buckets when you get down there and check for a black bag within a 30 second on there. So if anybody has that bag on board their vehicle, please can you check it for thanks, place it up.
How are we doing for time? Oh, we are still late, crikey. Yeah, in the wise wisdom, the West Yorkshire Metro day ticket has gone up to £5. However, the day ticket on First West Yorkshire buses has remained at £4.50. So quite a lot of people at the moment, first have remained at £4.50, that I think is good of them for the network size they offer, the areas that they serve. I think £4.50 continues to be a bargain, and I think it's quite nice it stayed at that rate.
Corporation Junction.
And it does also split the ticketing up slightly, that I think is quite good. However, because First has remained at £4.50, people jumping on the first buses asking for a ticket, asking for £4.50 day rider, not knowing that the other one went to a £5, because there wasn't particularly much promotion that it had gone to a £5. It was just one Monday morning it became a £5. Without much context, it was just pretty much one Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. It was just like, oh, day tickets are £5 now. It was operators were known about it, but the general public didn't get much on it. There wasn't much on the buses. There wasn't any announcements made, anything at the bus stations, on the boards. It just went up overnight. It just went up to £5. So on the weekdays, people were asking for the £4.50 day ticket, and if they're on another operator's bus, they were being disappointed by being told it was now £5. And if they got on the first bus, they were sold the £4.50 day ticket, then jumped on a Riva bus, or a Yorkshire Buses vehicle, or a Transdev vehicle, or a Connections bus vehicle. I've not got anybody on wanting that stop. And they were then told, sorry, you can't use that on here. Well, why not? I used it yesterday or last week. Oh no, it's a first bus ticket now. Oh, the Metro one's a £5. And because there was absolutely zero marketing at the fact that the other ticket was now a £5, nobody knew. I mean, even I only found out through operator message rather than through the general public thing, because there was just no general public announcement made, that I just thought was a little bit bonkers, really. And again, something that does need improving, I think, in the future is the communication. I mean, back in the day, Metro West Yorkshire were really good at it. Really, really good at it. They were much better than South Yorkshire PTA used to be. However, it seems that that's now flipped. I mean, the fare increases, when fare increases happen in the South Yorkshire region, there are South Yorkshire Combined Authority, Combined Mayoral Authority, and SYPTE, whatever you want to still call them, posters pretty much on every single bus, announcing a fare increase, every single tram, every single interchange, every single bus station. There is signage everywhere telling you that the prices are going up, or the prices are changing, or there's something changing with the routes. The communication there is absolutely excellent. So I don't know what has happened in West Yorkshire to change the communication, but as I say, for all intents and purposes, the bus ticket went up overnight and nobody was the wiser. It just happened and nobody was told. Again, it does put people off the buses when the prices are going up for tickets and nobody tells them, so they can't budget for it, especially in the time that we are in a recession, and people do tend to budget a little bit more to ensure that they can afford to live. Because back in day, 50p probably wouldn't make much difference in the world when we were doing quite well about a decade ago. However, at the moment, 50p can make quite a bit of difference. Because it does add up.
The next stop is Ashbury Market.
Yep, I can tell because everybody stood up at the same time. Oh, we'll just pull into the 17 terminus. I wasn't going to, but we'll just pull into the 17 terminus. So there we go. So that was the 15, the special run from the depot. Something a little bit different for us, doing a depot run into service. I thought it was quite a nice little bit of oddball route. It would have been nice to have an additional marker sign leaving the bus station, so we'd have gone the right way, and we weren't just sort of twiddling thumbs going, where do we go here? But apart from that little minor route edit that we did, a minor divert, we got back on route and we did relatively okay for time. In the lovely diamond bus livery. As I say, a little bit of a knock back to what Bolton Depot ran and was like before franchising. It's important to remember what it was like, and even liveries like this, and that may not seem that significant because it's on a Streetdeck, it is important to remember them as they were part of the most recent bus history. And coming up in the future, probably a bit older history. So it's always important to remember these obscure liveries. With that all in mind, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have done, do be sure to click that like button so that more people can find it and enjoy like you have. If you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe to the oddball Videos YouTube channel for more content like this from the simulation section with hundreds of videos up to twice a week, as well as an archive of over 6,000 backseated engine-focused public transport videos from the UK and beyond. With buses, trams, trains and more, there's something on there for everyone, an additional 21 of those videos per week. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to my main channel and More Central for updates around Manchester buses before and after franchising tranches take place. We're doing quite a lot of in-depth videos at the moment on the Tranche 2 Manchester bus franchising that has now gone live. We're doing updates on the operation, we're doing updates on specific vehicles, specific routes and bits like that, so absolutely all sorts. So do make sure you subscribe to the channel if what I've discussed in this video is interesting, is it'll all feature on there. For now, I really hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next video, mate. Goodbye for now. Bye.